All right, good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to the STEM Files. We are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. Tonight's episode, we're going to be building with Tuskegee University Powerhouse and future doctor, Sister Jannah Adams. She's going to be talking to us about her journey in Tuskegee so far, how they've done such an amazing job with preparing her to be a doctor in the future, and so much more. Stay tuned for more after this, family.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science.
Well, family, as the homie Pat Pooh says in every episode, we teach men, women, and children heavy science on this platform. This platform is dedicated to highlighting the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the Black and brown communities. My name is Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac, a biomedical research scientist with a concentration and background in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm joined by two amazing people, I enjoy working with dearly. We're going to start off with our mighty new addition that we have to the team, Sister Dr. Joy. Tell them who you are.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, family, and Ramadan Mubarak. I'm Sister Dr. Joy 2X, aka the Chi Mechanic, and I've been studying and practicing traditional Chinese medicine for 12 years now. In Chinese medicine, we understand that the body innately knows and desires to heal itself. So the medicine that I offer here is to assist you in that journey like a mechanic for your vital energy. Peace, family.
Let's go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And of course, last but certainly not least, my right hand best friend. I've been known to do some damage with in the world of STEM for the last almost going on 10 years now.
That's right.
Jabril engineer. What's going on, Fruit?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. It's Brother Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabril Engineer. I am a civilian mechanical engineer with a focus on naval ship fluid systems and a background in material science and engineering. Study the various material classes, how they can utilize for various applications, making things stronger, faster, lighter, more efficient, more effective. I'm excited to be here and excited to really learn more about our guests and really teach you also more about that heavy science we were talking about. Let's get into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we always say, we done enough rambling about ourselves, but the show is not about us. It's about the amazing people that we bring on this platform. So without any further ado, we have Sister Jannah Adams, Tuskegee University student, future doctor. Welcome to the platform, sis. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Ramadan Mubarak. I am so excited to be on the STEM Files. When I first got the invitation, I was like, yes, of course I have to hop on it. I am Sister Jannah Adams. I am a junior biology pre-medicine major with a minor in material science and engineering at Tuskegee University. I am originally from Houston, Texas. Summer 45. Yes, sir. And I aspire to be an emergency medicine physician. And I also want to do a lot of work with prosthetics and medical machinery. So that is where the material science and engineering comes in handy.
Excellent. And it's funny. Yeah. When I originally invited you onto the platform and I found out and you sent me your bio, right? I was like, you know what? This is a perfect blend of what Jabril and I do, like on two separate things, right? And I know Jabril often likes when somebody switches from life sciences to engineering, and you're doing both.
Yes.
So you don't get the opportunity to gloat this time.
Yes.
So tell us, first and foremost, more about your background. What made you want to go into the field you're studying now? What was it about your environment in Houston, Texas that was like, you know what, I'm going to get into STEM. This is something I want to do. I want to go be a part of Tuskegee University's legacy. How did that all start?
Yes, sir. So I come from a family of engineers and people who have background in sciences. My mom was a biology major in college. My dad is a current safety engineer. My mom currently works with safety engineering as well. So I grew up around STEM. That's what was in the house. My favorite subject in school was always science. And so from a very, very, very young age, I knew that I wanted to have something to do with whether that scientific research, whether that is working with people, plants, anything like that. Over time, I think I grew to have a love for helping people and improving the health of people, especially Black people. There's such a need there. And so I think that's where the medicine part came in. Now, emergency medicine, I know myself all too well. I have to be involved in multiple things at once. I need to consistently be moving. And I wanted to have a piece of every field of medicine. And I know that comes with emergency medicine. So that's where the emergency medicine part came in. Now, my decision to I just actually added my minor my sophomore year. I didn't do it my freshman year. Tuskegee University has a lot of funding within the material science and engineering department. And so it was, opportunity was presented to me to, to all science majors really, to just take up and kind of experience, see what material science and engineering is about. And now my dad growing up was like, engineering, you sure you don't want to do engineering, John? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I was like, no, engineering is not my thing. It's not my thing. But I did a lot of research on the field before I decided to, take on a minor. And I thought about how could I mix both, because I said, I can see myself doing this. I could see myself, having a role in this, but also that playing material science and engineering playing a role in medicine. It's 2024 now. We live in a world of technology. So, and technology is consistently evolving. So I said, I have an interest in this part of engineering, this small part of engineering, really a huge field of engineering. I have this interest in engineering, but I also really want to do medicine. So how do I mix both? So I'm pressing like, can I at least do both? I don't want to choose one, right? So when the opportunity at Tuskegee was presented, I immediately hopped on it. And so far it has been very rewarding. I'm learning so much. And going back to even choosing why I decided to attend Tuskegee University, man, that is such a long story, but I'll give y'all a short version. When I was a senior in high school, I just knew that I was going to go to Xavier University of Louisiana. That was where they produced the most Black medicine doctors. And so I was like, this is where I'm going to go. However, that I received an email. So with the whole applying the college system in college, they have this platform where all the HBCUs are listed. You can just send an application to all HBCUs at one time. And I knew for sure I was going to a historically Black college. I was also fortunate to have one parent who attended a historically Black college and university, and one parent who attended a predominantly white institution. So I was able to hear both perspectives. And growing up in high school, we always did college visits, and most of them were at predominantly white institutions, especially in Texas. Texas is really big on state schools, so we were always traveling to state schools. So I sent my application through this platform. So all the HBCUs received my application, and the email from Tuskegee actually went to my spam folder. And I said, well, let me go in and check. And I opened the email, and it was just about a full ride scholarship to Tuskegee University. And I said, oh, let's put you on the list. Money talks. So I was like, you know what? And then my parents were like, let's take a trip. Like my dad is also really big on going and seeing what the school is like. Right. So during spring break, my whole family, myself, my sister, my mom, and my dad, we all went. We visited Xavier University of Louisiana, and we also visited Tuskegee University. I wanted to go to an institution where I know that I could have that college experience, yes, but also be focused and remember the reason why I came here, which was to get my degree. Tuskegee is in a small town in Alabama, but it is such a gem in the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure if most people are aware of the United States syphilis study on the Negro male that occurred here in Tuskegee University. And not just that, We have George Washington Carver, who was a chemistry professor here at the university. Booker T. Washington was the first president here at the university. There's so much Black excellence that walked on this campus. And the university takes pride in making sure that its students are aware of that. And that is something that I just really loved about the campus. It was large enough. It was definitely far enough away from home. So I wasn't too worried about being all home all the time. But I just really fell in love with the concept of how they connected the history of Black, I call them Black celebrities that walk this campus, and with the students and with the academics here. We are also the number 4 HBCU in the nation. So our academics are really rigorous, and I wanted to go to a school that would challenge me, but that would also remind me and will continue to remind me of how blessed I am to be a Black woman. So that was where my decision to Tuskegee came. And so every day, Tuskegee is a national historic site. So we have plaques all across campus at different buildings that tell you history about the university. And every day I'm learning something new. That at the end of my sophomore year, I became a Tuskegee University ambassador. So I was able to learn a lot of the history, and people just know, the major figures that walk across the campus, but I don't think people really understand how many great people how many great people that Tuskegee produces. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Lonnie Johnson. He made the Super Soap.
Absolutely.
He went to Tuskegee University. Ralph Ellison, the author who wrote The Invisible Man, he graduated from Tuskegee University. So we have so many just great people that were here and that taught here and that invested their time here. And that was something that I hold dear to my heart. And as I spend more time here and as I finish up my undergraduate career, I just have this love for the campus. So that was where that came from. And going back to Houston, yes, I am from Houston, Texas. I love being from Houston, Texas. We are the energy capital, but we also have the largest medical complex in the nation, I believe in the world. I don't want to misspeak about that, but I do know we have the largest one in the nation. And so I do plan to go to medical school back in Houston. I would really, really, really would like to attend UT McGovern, which is right in the downtown Houston area. And that is because Houston is such a diverse city. There is somebody from everywhere. And when you're in the medical field, you don't know who your patient is going to be. Right. So I feel like getting that training, getting that exposure and learning medicine and learning how to practice medicine there is a perfect place. And I'm familiar with the area. I love the city. So yeah, that's my whole spiel.
All praises due to Allah.
Right, they had the whole family on the STEM files at the same time.
Right.
I have everybody. So
yeah. Well,
he's giving us a lot to chew, so I'm gonna let you go ahead, Dr. Joy.
Right. Well, praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, sis. So I kind of want to expand on what material science actually is for people who just don't know, who might be tuning in from the nation, who have just no idea about this field of STEM, and also how it talk a little bit more about the prosthetics that you're so interested in and how that ties into emergency medicine. I'm really excited actually to speak with you and know that the spectrum of Black excellence that we've had on this show is just unparalleled, but specifically coming from Tuskegee University. We had a few months back Sister Bria X, who's like quantum businesswoman, physicist, engineer.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah. So, just talking to these wonderful NGT out here in the STEM field is absolutely amazing. So praise be to Allah. We're so glad you're on.
Yes. Okay. So I'm still fairly new to the field. I've taken only a couple classes, but what I've gathered is material science is exactly what it says. It's the study of materials. So you're talking about what computers are made out of, what soaps are made out of, what bottles are made out of, what buildings are made out of. Like, where do people get those materials to build those different structures, like something that you wouldn't even think about. I know I have my hydroponics sitting right here. So like, what is this made out of, right? And that just is kind of almost mind-boggling to me, because that shows me that material science is in everything. It's in everything. Now, when you combine it with the topic of medicine, and you're asking about prosthetics and machinery, so you have a defibrillator, right? You have, if your arm gets amputated, now you have, in 2024, you can get you a prosthetic arm and you can still function. So but then you have to question, like, how can I take these man-made materials that are made out of elements from the earth, but put them in the body without it becoming toxic to the body?
Right.
That is where you have to really understand the whole process of how that goes.
Yes.
Because you can't just put foreign objects into your body,
right?
Because it'll reject it. That has happened before. Just like how someone can reject an organ when they get an organ donated to them, a kidney or a liver or a heart. And a person, if something coming from just another person can kill you, that means materials can kill you as well.
That's right.
So that is what I'm interested in. And I want to know, how can we improve them and make them better? Yes, we've made an accomplishment over time to where we can have these prosthetics and we can have these things to put on our bodies to help us function and do daily life practices. But how can we make them better? It's always room for improvement. So what can we do? And I know that there's a lot of artificial materials coming into play, about how I know that they're like the old defibrillator, how they used to have before, is not like the new defibrillator. And now you have, like, you can walk around with one. But then you think about, let's say, for example, one thing that I thought about was an oxygen tank. Now, sometimes you know how you have people walking around with huge oxygen tanks and they have a breather in them. But how can we make that compact and efficient? Carry it around like a backpack or carry it on a purse, because you know what, and then even just kind of like social wise, like, people would obviously stare if you're walking around with a huge oxygen tank, but and so a lot of people are very sensitive about their health. A lot of people don't like to talk about, either health problems, even if their health is good. A lot of people don't like to talk about that. And so as a doctor, your job is to not only help your patient and make sure that they're living a healthy life, but your job as a doctor is to also make sure that they are happy with the way that they're living. Right. So that is where, I guess, hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, that's what I'm interested in.
Crazy cool thought. And that also that just kind of sparked in me. I was gifted this beautiful gift for this Ramadan from one of my sisters at number 92. She gifted me The Comer by Night by mother Tainetta Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with her. And Brother Jabril Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, he actually opened up in the preface, and I just wanted to read this part. I didn't want to get it wrong. But he says, again, this work brings the mind of the seeker of truth, of the most valuable of truths, of the threshold of what I'll call here a major part of what Allah and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have willed for Black people to grow into. It involves self-mastery on divine principles and mastery of the elements, which are the building blocks and the sources of the governance of the universe. So I just found that so key to even what you're studying and what you're attributing this to in the STEM field, because my field of STEM in science is elementals in terms of, 5 elements, which can then be other building blocks of sorts. But for you, this is really like a, something tangible that, people can actually receive in immediate medical emergencies.
Yes.
May I add a couple things? I wanted to say your handle on base principles, at least coming in as far as what it is definitely spot on. When I first came into contact with material science and engineering, it was at a camp in the summer at Drexel University. My top 2 schools were Drexel University and the University of Pennsylvania. I'm from Philadelphia originally, and I ended up going to Penn to study material science and engineering. And one of the things that always stuck out to me is that if I have a materials understanding, I'm valuable to any team, any engineering team, because they have to, their work involves something made out of something, right? So, and now a big part of what you were talking about with the oxygen tank, taking it down to size, and making it look a certain way, or and introducing foreign materials to the body. That's what we call material selection.
Right.
And another reason why that's so important is because there's not only the very physical aspect and chemical, there's a psychological aspect that happens or is to be taken into account when you introduce materials to the body. So, for example, if I have a prosthetic arm, I've had a real arm my whole life.
Right.
And it operates a certain way, it feels a certain way, it connects with my neurological faculties a certain way. So now when I introduce this, I have to get used to it. I have to feel similar so that it's not a big blow to the psyche that now I have something new. And then what do we do when we talk about how it lasts? So we want to have materials that last long as well, that are not going to like fail us just walking down the street. So then we talk about the feel, we're talking about what it looks like, we're talking about how it interacts with the very terrain too. So that was some beautiful points, but I just want to highlight that as well as some things that we consider when we do material selection for things like prosthetics and things like that, which is a very, very beautiful area of expertise too. So bravo, sis.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's beautiful a lot. Well, since you mentioned earlier on about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, right? And with all of the positive things that have come out of Tuskegee, the city of Tuskegee itself, the residents, the people that live there, because a lot of people don't realize, Tuskegee is not just a university; it's an actual city in Alabama, in Macon County, and the people there, the city itself, has a lot of challenges, but also has a lot of health challenges as well. So coming from Tuskegee, and I know you say your original goal, your goal is to go back to Texas for medical school, right? But do you ever see yourself going into Tuskegee to serve or to provide solutions to some of the health challenges that they face down there?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'll give you guys a story about what happened last spring. About two spring semesters ago. That was actually my freshman year. One of our classmates, or one of the students here at Tuskegee University, actually got shot off campus. And we don't have a hospital here at Tuskegee University, nor do we have an emergency clinic. So unfortunately, he bled out and he passed away because of that. And so that not only reinforced my desire to not only just do emergency medicine, but to give back to the community here at Tuskegee University, who has given so much to me, right? I decided to get a profound education from Tuskegee University, but what am I doing to repay the favor? And so I made this goal. I said, I want to bring an emergency clinic to Tuskegee. I really, really, really do. And I want to come back, and the cost of living to buy a property here is not too much. And I know that it is a goal that I could accomplish. And a lot of my other classmates who are also within the same major as me, I began talking with them. And surprisingly, we all have the same idea, right? So unity, numbers, makes things happen. So
That's right.
We have this goal just to come back years later once we've got all our education, and just to invest in the city, because believe it or not, I personally believe that this city is still suffering from what happened to them so many years ago. And you can see it. Yes, the university is amazing, and when you walk on campus, it's so lively and beautiful. But when you walk outside those gates, it's something so much different. And Tuskegee is predominantly Black. So there are no resources here. There's no Walmart. Only a couple gas stations. So you have to take all of that in as something, like when you're here for so long, even if you're here past 4 years, you have this love for the university, but then you begin to feel the need to help the people here as well. Because you got to think about it, the residents here open their city to you.
Come on. Come on, Richie.
Right? They open their city to students all across the world. So it's only right for you to give back to them and to help them. And I feel like as Black people, it is our job when we are given the opportunity to be in rooms or just get these fancy educations and learn these practices. It is our obligation to go back and help our people. So I definitely want to give back to the university. Yes, not just the university, just Tuskegee in general. I definitely do.
Right.
Yes, it's needed.
Yeah, and it always bothered me when you have these big, whether they're HBCUs or not, you have these big schools with all this talent and all these resources. And matter of fact, a university is literally made up of several colleges of multiple disciplines, and yet they sit in the middle of cities that are suffering.
Right.
So there have to be students that come out of these schools that have not only the desire but the courage, because they're going to be facing a lot of Goliaths trying to set up positive institutions in these cities. Because, like you said, the government of Alabama is not looking after Tuskegee. The government of the United States is not looking after Tuskegee. So the students that get the training and education have to do that. They have to be the ones to come in and be like, you know what, enough is enough. Let's go ahead and set this city up right and do right by these people.
That's a great point.
Absolutely.
You don't think about how, by and large, you have these world-renowned institutions that are in various cities around the world, particularly in the United States of America, where we're focusing on. And with maybe a couple programs here and there for particular colleges and things like that, the thought process is for a student to come in, undergo positive and negative stress to achieve a degree, which from degree to degree is you're barely able to tell, to then go out potentially away from said city and be an asset somewhere else. So you monopolize their time while they're on the campus, and then you make them an asset or hope they're an asset for you with no real concern about the outside, world or outside the bubble. And then they leave and go get a job somewhere that's probably far away. Now, I went to school in Philly, right? And you hear the stories about people coming to Penn and then, oh, don't go to this street, don't go to that, don't go this far. And it's funny because, I was raised that you go and you move like you're supposed to be there. A lot of times people walk around looking like they don't belong, which attracts unwanted eyes and things of that nature. But I say all this to say, colleges should be preparing students to better the quality of living where the college is. Right.
Exactly.
You have all of these minds in this area, but there's no improvement. So I'm so glad that we started talking about that. Oh, praise be to Allah. Since Dr. Joy, I think I might have started talking over you.
Oh no, sir, that's fine. But I did. I was thinking that speaking of positive institutions, Sister Jannah, are you on the Ministry of Health and Human Services?
Come on now.
Yes. Okay. I haven't, since I've been away at school. I know I signed up to be a part of it, but I haven't been super active in it. Because I am in school most of the time. I'm not at home, and but usually when I go home, I always tell my mom every year, even when I went past to this past Savior's Day, I want to be one of those people that wears the green scarf. I want to be one of them, and that is just one of my goals. I have to make that happen. And I am. I've talked about Dr. Akili, who is also formerly, you used to live in Houston, and we also been discussing, we've had conversations about the medical journey and how to get there, how to get to that point. So yes, ma'am, I wouldn't say that I'm a part of it yet because I haven't gotten my scarf, but I am kind of in it. Yes, and no.
Praise be to Allah. Well, Brother Tariq got the plug for the sashes.
Well, I'll tell you this one thing: the sash is just an accessory.
Right.
When you make the decision to be a part of the ministry, you're already in there.
That's right.
I look forward to working with you at Savior's Day one day.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
to be honest with you, like we have medical students that volunteer with us, like that are
Wow.
on that collegiate,
Yes.
that pre-med or at the level of medical school. You know, so definitely service is always needed. You know,
Yes, sir.
you've learned a lot already, and as
Yes,
long as
sir.
you're with somebody who's qualified to do a certain thing, we got you.
Yes, sir.
You get your sash
Brother
next year.
Tariq, you ever say anything but a word?
Let's
Okay.
go.
I am ready today.
Voila. Yes,
I just
ma'am.
love.
We got you.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All
I just
right,
love your
so,
passion
okay.
and enthusiasm, though, for the building the ER clinic. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I
And I forgot all
I
about
wanted
that.
to-
I was in Tuskegee for like 6 months, and I forgot they have no medical institutions whatsoever.
Nothing. I think they
That's
have
crazy.
a rehabilitation center for the elderly, but even that needs improvement. Because I literally drive past it each day, and I work at a lab, a pharmacy lab in Auburn, Alabama, which is where Auburn University is, which is a predominantly white institution. And you go 20 minutes down the street and you see everything you need. And
That's right.
it's just such a dynamic coming home like several days out the week. And I'm like, man, like I'm in Auburn, like, and I'm talking about Auburn University Pharmacy Research Lab has top-notch equipment, brand new equipment. But then you go to Tuskegee University
Mm-hmm.
and you go in the chemistry lab, and we don't have test tubes,
Right.
we don't have syringes, or we're running out of this, and it's a responsibility I feel on me and on the students who get our education from it. It's our responsibility to make sure that our university is in top-notch shape, because you're training Black minds, and
Right.
it's a powerful thing. So yes, like we need even in the, you don't have to start big, because sometimes you can't just build a full-blown hospital out of nowhere. You have to start small. So maybe so I said the ER clinic because that's usually a gateway into building a larger medical like a larger health institution. So
Right.
yeah, definitely
Microcosm of
starts
the macrocosm. That's
right.
And don't let me get started with Montgomery. That's 30 minutes the opposite way. And they definitely got everything they need.
Exactly. And I actually shadow physicians there about once or twice a month. So I've seen it both. Auburn University, I go to work, I work at the lab, I come back, I look at Tuskegee, there's nothing here. I go to Montgomery once or twice a month, hospitals, ambulances, and like it took 30 minutes, going back to that story about my classmate who got shot. It took 30 minutes for the ambulance to get here.
That's atrocious.
Right?
That's
30 minutes for the ambulance to get here. And just having an ambulance on standby can do so much difference, like can make so much difference. You have paramedics ready to work, makes a difference. That can save your life, right? Those 6 minutes, those 5 minutes, those 3 minutes that you need, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I just feel like it's unacceptable to me to not have those resources here. So it has to be done. I will say it must be done.
Totally agree. All right, family. So we built a lot. We have so much to I have at least 3 more questions to ask you after this quick commercial break. But at this time, we're going to go right into the Final Call newspaper, a message from a past STEM Files alumni, and then, of course, what the Final Call newspaper is about this week and what Ramadan means to the Muslim Ummah. Check it out, family.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
Peace. This is Naya Muhammad, a future architect, and you're watching The STEM Files.
All right, Jabril. So now we got what the Final Call is, and then we got a special message from Sister Anaya out of Chicago. What is this week's issue all about, bro? And tell us more about Ramadan as well.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. This is the latest issue, volume 43, number 24 of the Final Call newspaper. It is a message dedicated to the resurrection of the Black man and woman in America and the world. Ramadan 2024, refuge, renewal, and recommitting. It's really summed it up right there. For those who don't know, Ramadan is the holy month of the Muslims. It marks the time frame in which the Holy Quran was revealed. It moves year to year with the lunar calendar, if you will. Since the Islamic world begins the holy and sacred month of Ramadan as Muslims strive for spiritual growth, development, and a commitment to service. The word Ramadan in Arabic simply means burning or intense burning. You're burning away sin and poor, bad habits to now fill yourself back up or start newer habits and get yourself closer to Rabbil Alameen, or the Lord of the worlds, Allah Almighty. We are all striving to look inward and outward to be able to now make our communities a safer and more decent place to live and be better representations of Muslims, which are simply those who submit their wills to the will of God. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in his most recent Savior's Day address, talked about, and I'm paraphrasing, how he had recently been bathing himself in the plight of the Palestinians. And what I want to talk to us about very briefly is those of us who consider or call ourselves Muslims, and those of us who consider ourselves marginalized or downtrodden around the world, should sympathize and empathize with our brothers and sisters over there who are now celebrating Ramadan in refugee camps, in rubble mosques and things of that nature. But in addition to that, we as the Black man and woman here in America should now look inward and look in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our cities and towns and states, in our country, and look at, well, what is our plight? What am I doing to fight against that plight to now make a better today and a better tomorrow for myself and my community? So get your latest edition of Final Call if you're in the Greensboro area, if you're in the Richmond, Virginia area, if you're in, I'm going to say either Philadelphia or Atlanta, I will get it to you. I will get it to you. All praises due to Allah. Go to finalcalldigital.com to get your digital subscription as well. The Final Call newspaper family, good news you can use.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that, brother. But yes, this whole issue about, what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about at Savior's Day with what's going on in Palestine, it brought me to a question about Tuskegee, actually. You mentioned, when you go into chemistry labs, and I've been witness to this because I did a soil science program there one time, and you go into the labs, the glassware is just not what it should be. The test tubes, the flasks, barely have working pipettes. Barely have people in there to organize the lab. It's cluttered and messy sometimes. And back when George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington were doing what they were doing with the university, they took pride in making sure that the school had what it needed.
Yes,
right. Dr. Yes, Carver, he would make test tubes and flasks.
Yes, sir.
Good teacher.
He would make them.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So Booker T. Washington also had a huge affinity for making sure that the school had what it needed, personnel-wise, material-wise, educational materials, making sure that we had the best of what we needed to be who we wanted to be. So where do you think the breakdown in responsibility happened between their time and now? And you don't necessarily have to pinpoint when it started, but what forces do you think played a role in taking Tuskegee University that responsibility and breaking it down to what it is now?
Great question. I want to go back to when the university was established. And it's funny because the university was established July 4th, 1881. And so we say we celebrate Tuskegee Day on July 4th instead of this day. But Tuskegee University was founded by two men, Lewis Adams and George Campbell. One was a former slave, one was a former slave owner. Now, the former slave owner was running for a political office in the city and wanted to know how could he secure the Black vote in Tuskegee. And Lewis Adams said he didn't ask for money, he didn't ask for food, he didn't ask for material things. He asked for a school. We need a school to be educated, and that's what he asked for. And so the politician who was running, he invested money and gave the money for the land. And Tuskegee started out as 30 students in a church, and now has grown to over 5 schools and colleges, and is now a university. Now, when you say, George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington, who did everything in their power to make sure the university was up to par, I think the disconnect happened when, I think it's all about leadership and having the right intentions of going into a role such as a university president or trustee of a university, or anybody who makes the decisions about a university. It's all about your reasoning as to why you decide to go into that position. Are you doing that for personal gain? Or are you doing that to actually help the students and the faculty and the staff here who work at the university? I think that's where it starts. It starts at the head. It starts at the top. So if the leader isn't doing everything in their power to make sure that the university is up to par, then everything below that is not up to par. So I feel like, I want to say, because Tuskegee is so much history and it survived through so many decades and generations. I want to say even now, like, that's where the disconnect is now. I feel like now people just don't have that same love for education and learning as our ancestors did. And I feel like because we don't have that respect, because it's so open to us now. Like we know that we can just go to school and get a degree, or just go to school and even get an associate's degree or a high school diploma. But we don't know that our ancestors had to fight to get an education, to read a book. So I feel like when the opportunity is just always presented to you, you kind of overlook it. And so you don't really pay attention to it and see the value in it. And I think that's where the disconnect lies. So I feel like now is the disconnect. And I think we just have to make sure that we remember how valuable these institutions are and what they give to us and what they give to our community, and why they were established in the first place. Like, why was Tuskegee established in the first place? It was to provide an education for Black people who couldn't go to Montgomery and get it, who couldn't go to Auburn University down the street and get it. So I think that's where the disconnect is, and that's where the problem is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Can I say,
okay, bro.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking as you were talking, it just came to mind, we know every university is a very multifaceted place, and they have their challenges, things they do well. As I read, the title is really just jumping out at me, like how Tuskegee prepares you to become a doctor. I know I'm very curious because you're very accomplished, and obviously I know you're learning, but I'll be curious, what's unique about Tuskegee and your experience in pre-medicine that is helping you to be successful and be prepared for what you articulated earlier that you'd like to do. I'd be very curious to hear, because it's funny, I got into Tuskegee as well for material science, and I didn't end up going or visiting because my heart was told on staying, I guess, closer or what have you. But I always kind of thought, like, I feel like I wish I would have visited and at least kind of toured or what have you. But I'd be curious just to learn more about how do you feel you're being prepared, or what are some of the unique methodologies or things that are done that are allowing you to gain a quality education in that way?
What I will say, over time, Tuskegee has gained academic popularity, if that makes sense, with other institutions across the nation. So we have a lot of large schools whose donors just come down to see if they can do a partnership with the university. I will say Tuskegee University is very strong in engineering and science. And we also have architecture too, which is what we're really was just an awesome program. Tuskegee, I know, is preparing me to go out into the world and to help my community, because number one, they make sure that I have an established foundation into my reasoning as to why I need to help my community. I feel like that's very important. You have to know your why. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you here? I also believe that Tuskegee has professors who want to see their students succeed. So I walk into a classroom and I see a Black professor who went to Harvard University or did a training at Brown University, and they came back to Tuskegee and said, you can do this too. This is how I can help you. This is what you need to do. And I think it all starts with someone just investing that time in you and wanting to see you succeed, that fuels your passion, that motivates you to continue. And I think that is what Tuskegee is doing for me. My passion is consistently elevating because I'm consistently meeting professors and faculty and staff members who are saying, we need you in those fields. We need you. Your people need you. Your community needs you. And like I said before, Tuskegee has academic popularity. I know it's funny because after I got accepted, my dad told me, and my mom actually, they had coworkers who went to, I don't know if I mentioned, my dad went to a predominantly white institution, but he said his coworker was was someone who went to Tuskegee. And he was saying, man, I went into work one day and the Tuskegee grad, he was just eating all the white people up. Like, he knew his stuff. And I said, that is what I want to do. And I said, yes, that's what I want to do. And I feel like Tuskegee, and even just historically black colleges, but Tuskegee is a competitive school. Like, we can go into these rooms with people who don't look like us at all and blow them out the water. And I feel like Tuskegee is just preparing me in that way to be a strong individual by myself, because I'm going into a field where there already isn't people who look like me. So I need to be able to go in the room and not have this fear of not belonging. Mm-hmm. So Tuskegee is giving me that confidence, I think. Not only the academic part, because yes, that's a check. That's done. I know my information, my knowledge, but it's giving me that social aspect to go in and say, I belong here. I know what I'm talking about, and you're going to listen to what I have to say. And Tuskegee does that in all areas. And that we have career workshops, we have leadership seminars, but these are all Tuskegee graduates who are coming back and telling us about their experience in their career field. And that's what we need to see. That's important. It's one thing to just have someone from just a random school to come talk about what they do, but it's super, super, super important to have someone who's, number one, Tuskegee University graduate, and is number two, a Black woman or male who is excelling in their career field, to come say, hey, this is what you need. These are the strategies that you need to use to navigate this career. And that is how Tuskegee is preparing me.
Absolutely.
And all that's the cherry on top when you consider the teachings.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Crazy.
This has been an incredible episode. God willing, we would love to have you back on for part 2. but we're approaching that hour, and we
Yes,
would
sir.
like to just thank everyone for tuning in, and thank you, of course, Sister Jannah, for coming through.
Thank
One
you.
more question.
Yes, sir.
One more question, and it's not really related to what you're doing, with Tuskegee and becoming a doctor, but it's about colleges, it's about universities, right? So my sister, she's always sending me something on Instagram, right? You always got that one relative that's just sending you stuff all the time.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yes.
So my sister sent me something from the Shade Room about Bobby Brown and his wife getting an honorary doctorate degree from somewhere. I can't remember the name of the school, but there was a huge debate in the comments section about giving people about the concept of an honorary doctorate, or especially giving it to celebrities. And people were saying, "Oh, well, I spent all this time. I'm up here struggling with finals, and then I look on my timeline and they Bobby Brown getting a whole degree before me." Right. So I wanted to hear from you, and this question is for everybody, really. What are your thoughts on honorary degrees? Is it something that is necessary? Is it something that is beneficial to the community, beneficial to the person that's getting it? What are your thoughts? Why do you think it should stay, or why do you think it should go? Because I think it's a very interesting topic for discussion.
I think honorary degrees are good in the sense that it attracts people to maybe that institution or that career field or whatever they're receiving their honorary degree in. Especially, I know with young people, like I'm a part of the youth, yes. So we kind of sometimes idolize these celebrities, and we try to match our lives up with what they're doing. And yes, honorary degrees can assist in that, to kind of encourage us to continue to stay on that path or stay on that specific journey. But I think we have to be very careful on who we give them to, because yes, we can give them to a famous rapper or a famous artist, but what has that artist done for the community? What has that artist done for your university? What has that artist or rapper or whoever, what have they done? What good have they given to the world?
Come on.
And that is where I think honorary degrees should be kind of thought about in that sense, because like you said somebody in the comments was saying, I go to class 8 to 5 and Bobby Brown just walks up on stage and gets his honorary degree. And I agree. Right. I agree with that. I do agree with that wholeheartedly, because I'm setting my time and my heart on Monday. I'm getting school debt and all this stuff.
I done cried.
I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I did all of this. And I still got 3 more years left before I get my degree. So it's just like, man. So I feel like honorary degrees are just, they shouldn't be just given lightly, because it takes work. Like us as students, we take time and we spend our time. We could be going just working a job, just getting money, just to get money. But we sacrifice that time and we sacrifice those dollars to actually get knowledge that we can use and apply. So honorary degrees are good, yes. But who we give them to is the question. That's what we have to be very careful. And I feel like nowadays, I know when I look back at a lot of people who have received, like a lot of celebrities and philanthropists and people like that who have received honorary doctorate degrees, I'm like, oh yes, this person deserved that honorary doctorate degree. They made this such impact on this thing. Or yes, she deserved that, or he deserved this degree. Because it's just, I just think that it's super important to, you can't just give it to anybody. Like, it's just super important because you have to understand the influence that those people have on certain people.
That's right. Right.
So it's all about influence. And what do you do when you get that degree? Before you got that degree, what were you doing? Right. Right. So like, you know what I'm saying? So what were you on social media doing? Like, what were you doing with your life? So if I see you on Instagram every day, and all I see was partying on yachts and in the club all the time. But then you turn around on Sunday and you receive an honorary doctorate degree. What degree does that value hold? Because to me, it doesn't hold any value. To me, it's just a piece of paper. But then you look at someone who helped a children's village, or over time they help a group of people, civil rights activists, someone who helped health rights activists, disability rights activists, so people like that. So now I'm looking at them and they receive an honorary doctorate degree, and I'm like, okay, their degree actually holds value. So that's the way I look at honorary doctorate degrees now, because I see some people who are receiving them, and I'm like, okay, I can see that, but I don't really know what they did. It just doesn't make any sense. So that's where I stand.
Got you. Yes, man. And this is Bobby. If you happen to stumble upon this, we're not throwing no shade at you. We love you.
No shade, Bobby.
Bobby.
No shade, Bobby. I promise.
Praise be to all our family. That's pretty much it for the STEM Files. The voice of STEM talent and Black culture. Dr. Joy, Brother Jabril, what y'all got?
I just wanted to say really quick. No, Dr. Joy, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Well, sis, I just wanted to say also thank you. Your passion for your field, just the way that you're elevating yourself with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as well as the science and the field that you're studying and the area that you are in around Tuskegee itself. It's very inspiring. So keep doing what you're doing, sis. And thank you so much for being a part of the STEM Files.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, thank you as well. We love you. We're here for you. Welcome to the STEM Files Alumni Network. This is your platform. This is your home. We look forward to having you back. In my mind, I think I have someone either you may know, or I definitely would love to connect you to. That's connected to Tuskegee, but we'll talk about that offline. But the only thing I wanted to add as far as the doctorate conversation too, I'm a fan of people who get them who may not have gone to school, but they have years of real world experience.
Exactly.
You would have got the doctorate in. They did this in real life. So I'm like, I respect, So
they do this on a daily. This is what they do on a daily, right?
Right. Okay. So cool. But praise be to Allah. I mean, until next time, family. Stay tapped in with us. We strive to grow in service. We don't try to be on here as know-it-alls, but just people who can give you a product of value. Follow us at Tariq Cardiac, at Jabrillion_engineer, at the Chi Mechanic on our social media, at the STEM Files, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Come on now. We the blickiest, blackest platform for STEM, Yes. Come on now. Come on now.
Thank you to Allah. Family, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Once again, this has been STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. Ramadan Mubarak. Peace.
You believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science.